shadows they linger. In the quiet they cry. Amy and Adam with a question. Why? Oh, why? Hearts wide open, mind so clear. Kindred spirits calling through the night. Empathy and logic guiding lost light. Kindred spirits setting wrongs to right. They don't fear the whispers. They don't run from the cold.
Hello, and welcome to Paranormal Playback, the podcast where we recap the spooky, but mostly entertaining world of paranormal reality TV. I'm your spirit guide, Charlie.
And I'm Mel.
Wait, no, I'm Mel.
And I'm not Charlie, I'm Lore.
Basically, no one here is Charlie.
Budget cuts, people. We're double casting ourselves here.
Yep, Charlie's not here, which means I'll be overanalyzing and Lore will be overbelieving. Balance, baby.
Yin and yang.
So now that you know who we are,
And who we aren't.
do us a solid. Rate, give us a 5-star review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. But for now, let's return to Harrisville, where conjuring legends collide with real history. Tonight, we're diving into part 2 of Kindred Spirits, Season 4, Episode 2, Hell House, which first aired January 10th, 2020.
Dun dun dun.
So to recap, in part 1, we learned about the Harrisville farmhouse, also known as the Conjuring House, and the lore that is associated with it. We were introduced to Corey and Jennifer, who were paranormal investigators and the home's current owners. They've been experiencing activity that has scared their children out of the home. Amy and Adam have had their night 1 of their investigations, where they did a spirit box session and got some very interesting responses. So as we move into the rest of the investigation, we're about to be introduced to both Chip Coffey and the infamous Perron family, who the Conjuring movies are based upon, which I also rewatched yesterday.
And I forgot to watch.
And Lauren had 2 homework assignments, and she did neither, but that's okay, because that's what makes Lauren, and that's what makes me.
Yes.
And that's all you get tonight.
And that's the yin and the yang, baby.
And that's the yin and the yang. Balance. The theme of this episode, balance.
All right. So Amy and Adam regroup after going over the responses they received in their spirit box session on night 1. They decide they need to determine how the Perrons are connected to this, and they think the best way to do that is to bring the Perron family back to this house.
Which was like such a subtle flex.
I was really surprised about that. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like the Perron family? Like the Perron family.
Well, they had like made a comment when they first walk in there, and they mentioned the parents, and I think it's Amy or something who says like, who we're great friends with, we've spoken to all the time, and it's just like this throwaway.
I know.
I'm like, what do you mean you're like close? Well, first of all, I didn't even know they were still alive.
Yeah. Well, and so once we get more into the kindred spirits, they usually will bring back the people who live in the home to
Okay, so
kind
that's
of
normal.
to trigger the activity. So I was thinking they were going to bring the actual family who lived there back in, but the fact that they brought the Perron family who
Yeah.
were the OG Conjuring family, I was like, oh shit! Like, and that they agreed to
That was
to come back
shocking to me.
because they all seem still traumatized.
Yeah, which we'll get into later, but it was just so
Yeah.
bizarre how they kind of threw maybe they go over it. What season are we on for this? Did I say 4? So maybe they've mentioned that they're friends with famous haunted people,
Yeah.
but it just felt very strange.
Because if Zach was kind of bringing in the Perron family, it would have been like front and center.
Mm-hmm.
Like, guess who I'm bringing in? Like, texting them, like
They
how he
would've-
like
Teased that shit. They would have squeezed. What's that saying with like milk? Where you squeeze the juice or squeeze the drained the cow of that milk.
all I'm thinking
I'm
of
having
is
chemo
Polly
brain.
Shore. Squeeze the juice.
Oh my god! Wait, Polly Shore, like,
Polly Shore from Son-in-Law,
thank you. I heard Polly
Encino Man.
for a second. I heard Polly, and I thought Jersey Shore because Polly Shore, and then also Snooki responded to us, which was like,
I know. That
highlight.
is so cool. Like, can we frame that?
Yeah, absolutely. Some people frame
That
their
is our
first dollar. Ooh,
exactly.
we frame our first comment from Snooki.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Which is more valuable.
So much more valuable. I mean, especially to millennials, like that is gold.
Yeah,
right there.
I know. All right, so they explained that while they are waiting to see if the Perrin family would be willing to return, they are bringing in Chip Coffey, their resident psychic, to do a reading. Chip has a very colorful psychic medium background and has been featured on shows such as Psychic Kids and Paranormal State. And he's known for the dramatics and flair he brings to an episode, as well as his little sprinkling of Southern sass.
Ooh.
He is very sassy, and we love him for it.
We love sass.
We love it. So Amy explains that Chip is an old friend of Lorraine Warren, nothing to brag about there, who had investigated this house in the 70s. So he's aware he could be walking into a nightmare. So they definitely skirted over that detail as well. I'm like,
that he's an old friend of Lorraine.
Yeah.
That, I don't know why that made more sense to me. Maybe because he's older.
No, it made sense. But like, also, I want to dive into that. Like, okay, where did you guys meet?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you guys been friends for? Like, what's that?
Did they work together? Is that
Did
how
you
they
work
met?
together? Exactly.
They're like a medium meetup?
Because was Lorraine Warren, she was a medium. Okay, now I'm remembering.
Yeah, she was a medium. She did the like automatic writing, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I just watched the movie and I know they took a lot of liberties, but I don't know if she was also psychic. She was definitely a medium because she could see spirits and she had visions.
Yeah.
Or dreams. Or I think Ed had dreams.
We'll have to look into that for sure.
Yeah. Maybe you and I can dive into that on the Warrens episode.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Our crossover.
Yes. Stay tuned for a Reading the Tea and This Old Haunt crossover.
Yes. This old tea.
This old tea. Or this haunted tea. This Lauren haunted.
Reading the haunted tea?
Reading the haunted haunt. Reading the
old tea.
All right. So when they bring in Chop.
When they bring in Chop Koofy.
God, I have to gather myself.
Okay. Chip.
Okay. All right. We could do this. Okay.
We got it. We're killing. Frankly, I'm impressed with us. So.
Yes. Okay. All right. So when they bring in Chip, Chip shows up in a navy gingham short sleeve button up, blue jeans, and a black scarf with colorful skulls all over it.
Okay. I'm gonna do a little ding at Charlie here because we're reading her notes. That is an Alexander McQueen scarf, not just a black scarf with colorful skulls all over it.
I know. Oh, yeah. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes.
I mean, that's a great way to describe your classic Alexander McQueen scarf, the era of skulls.
But Alexander McQueen lived on after his death.
When skulls had like a moment. 2013.
Oh, yeah.
More like 2014.
Yeah.
And that's when I discovered Alexander McQueen, and that I could not afford.
I almost went to his exhibit the year he died in New York because it was going out. It was the last day in Manhattan. The line was probably like 6 hours long, so we couldn't go. But I'm like devastated because I think it was like the last time they were showcasing his work. It was right after he died too. So it was.
When did he die?
I don't know. All right, so. It's like an Alexander McQueen skull scarf, Charlie. Okay? Get it right.
Get it right. Know your designers.
Yes. Moving on. Okay. He walks up to Adam and Amy and they acknowledge that he might recognize where he is. It's because in most episodes, they do their best to blindfold him and not expose any information about the place that they are going to take him. They feel this helps his readings be as unbiased as possible. And this is what I love about them.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I thought they were just kind of like, you might recognize where we are. It's the Conjuring House,
Yeah.
So it's interesting to know that they blindfold him.
Well, because they want his like true intuition to pick up on things.
So what are his like powers?
I don't know what they are fully, but like what's crazy is he doesn't have to physically be at the location to pick up on the energy.
Okay.
Like sometimes they'll Zoom call him and he'll be able to pick up on the energy, which is crazy. I'm like, how are you Zooming call and you're able to figure out what's going on there?
So Okay, it's interesting you brought that up because we've been, as you know, we've been diving into Reddit a little bit more, dipping our toes into some subreddits, and we follow one that's called Haunted Dolls. And it's mostly people, I guess, like a lot of people really enjoy collecting haunted dolls.
Would people post pictures of the dolls and people could
Yes.
tell?
Yeah, so people will it's just like a lot of posts of dolls or people at like an antique store or doing like a Facebook marketplace swap looking for haunted dolls and they'll take pictures and be like, is anybody getting a vibe from one of these? And like people will comment and be like or like zoom in and circle and be like, this one has bad energy or like and do that. And so it's been really interesting for me to look at. But there was one where someone was like, do any of these dolls give you a vibe? And I was just like, that one sure looks creepy.
Okay, so they tell him they know he knows this house, but they are hoping he can go in and be as impartial as possible in what he senses. So Chip walks into the house without saying a word. He has a very stoic look on his face, which is very typical of Chip Coffee. Mel, once you like start seeing other episodes with Chip in it, he's like that. He's like,
This
holds his cards close to his chest at the very beginning.
Yeah.
You kind of can't read him. Like he's taking it all in. You can tell.
He is for somebody so quiet, he is such a vibe.
So the first thing he says is there's a lot of residual anger in this house. Um, and then when he said that, Mel, I don't know if you remember us talking about like residual energy that like
Yeah.
kind of went back to like whether or not residual energy actually means a haunting. So we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But just to interject that there.
Yeah. And residual energy is like just bad things have happened here. Like there's a heavy
Bad things, heavy energy kind of like
Yeah.
gets kind of absorbed into the walls and like,
Mhm. There's like a
so it,
quiet, like I try to imagine if you knew nothing about like the Holocaust, and you went and visited the Auschwitz Museum, would I think that any person would still get that like sense of
dread.
dread and like bad things happen here. Like this
Yeah.
is a heavy, heavy
Oh,
place,
I'm sure.
you
I'm
know?
sure.
So to me, like in my like logical, skeptical brain, I understand that. I understand that places give you a feeling regardless of whether or
Oh,
not you know the history of it. So I don't know
so
how to explain that.
so you're separating the actual residual energy from just knowing that the history of the actual location.
Yeah, because I think you can fool yourself, if you know
Yes.
bad things happen somewhere, you can be
Yes.
like, this place is heavy. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
is the place heavy or is the history heavy?
Yes.
So
I don't think it has to be one or the other.
you think a place can be heavy but have happy history?
No. I think the history can be heavy along with the energy
Okay.
in combination. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
think they can be like together.
Yeah.
Like I don't
Yeah.
think it has to be a one
Yeah.
or the other type of situation
So I do
that
like
you're
that
feeling.
he's blindfolded, and I'm going to try my best to just believe that he doesn't know anything about the location, and that is genuine in television. But I think of it as like us being placed in a location, being like, what, any feelings here? But if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, clearly something happened.
Yeah.
you know? But
They are pretty good about not leading him, and you'll
Mhm.
see that as we go through different episodes, is they won't tell him whether he's right or wrong
Mm.
when he's giving
'Cause-
details on what
yeah,
he thinks, which is nice. They're like,
yeah,
"Oh, okay." And then they'll let him, like, continue on, so they're not, like, leading him.
yeah. That's nice. My hope is that as we watch these interactions with Chip, that sometimes, like how they show when they don't capture anything, I'd love to see moments where he is like, I'm not getting anything from this, I'm
Yeah,
not sure. Where it doesn't.
and I'm pretty sure I've seen those episodes
Good,
where
good.
it's been quiet,
Yeah,
you know? That's
yeah,
how he kind of, like, says it, it's, like, quiet here. Yeah. So as he walks through a doorway, he grabs the wall and says, "I got shoved." So not only that, he moves his body to the side as he gets shoved.
yeah.
Like somebody literally just hit him.
Okay. So back to like, this is my first ever interaction with Chip Coffee. Um,
Did you think it was
I'm go
over?
I'm going back to my notes and I was like, oh, Chip's Chip's Lorraine's friend. Okay, I guess maybe that's how they know the parents and through Chip. So that was kind of going through my brain.
Yeah, what
And
was your first reaction
my
to
first
this?
reaction was, oh, okay, so he just walks in and like feels things. And then I was like, oh, this is dramatic. He's moving. Oh, he got shoved and hit. What the fuck? Oh, I love his Alexander McQueen scarf with the plaid.
Yeah.
This is like my chain of thought.
Yeah.
His whole persona came across to me in that like 2 minutes he was on screen. And I was just like, oh, whoa, oh, he's dramatic. His fashion this is so much better than Hot Topic. I'll take Alexander McQueen
Yeah.
over Hot Topic any
Yeah.
day.
So here's the thing. When you see him in other episodes where he's not picking things up, you'll understand that he's not performative.
Yeah. He doesn't seem, he seems very genuine. I feel like he's also the type of person that just tells it to you straight.
Yeah.
Like is that friend that tells you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, quit messing around. Like you should have done this yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
That's the kind of vibe I get from him.
Yeah. And that's totally him. He is really authentic, as well as this whole show, which is like why we love it so much and we compare it to Ghost Adventures all the time.
Oh, and so back to when he got shoved. He like, as I, wrote, it was like very dramatic, but he like, they add like a whooshing effect, in
Did
post.
they? I
add,
totally
like,
missed that.
He was walking through and he dramatically like kind of moves his body to the side. He's like, and almost he makes a face almost like he's offended. Like, how dare you push
Yeah.
me?
Well, you know that I was watching it with my mom this time.
Yeah.
And it both gave us chills. We're like, oh God, that like super creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whooshing made it extra creepy too. I remember being like, that was a good sound effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like moves his body and makes a face as if he's offended. And then he's like, I just was shoved. Like just like
Yeah.
just the way he said it, I was like, oh, cool.
I definitely want to
you.
be friends with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So anyways, he walks in, he gets shoved. It was like super creepy, not expecting that. Like his whole body kind of like moved to the side. And then he continues through the spirit box room, just naturally heads up to the 3rd floor bedroom. So the spirit box room, what was the spirit box room?
It's like the dining room where they did the session where Amy was blindfolded and,
Gotcha.
Timmy, the PA, was.
Yeah. Tommy.
I don't care. You're being static. Give me my coffee. So I think it seemed like some sort of kitchen or dining room situation. But that was like where he got shoved
in
like,
the doorway.
Hallway.
Yeah.
Right where you walk in, heading into that room that they did the spirit box session.
Yeah. So he says this may be residual, but I hear stop. Amy asks what kind of voice. Chip tells her it's a young voice. So we're all assuming it's probably the kids that used to live there, the Perrin family.
Mm-hmm.
They walk into the middle bedroom and Chip says that this room is very dark. He explains that some stuff settled in this room at one point in time. Amy asks if it's something supernatural or something physical. Chip says supernatural. So
what does that even mean?
I was literally about to ask you the same thing. I'm wondering if I think never
abusive...
had. No, this is what I'm thinking. Oh, okay. I think it can be two things. Supernatural, like it was something that had never been alive. So a demon, and something physical, like it could have been like a previous person that was alive and now is no longer alive. So that was like a physical being. So like supernatural as like demon as opposed to like a ghost, something physical. Or I think what you were about to say is residual anger as opposed to actual like ghost haunting type of thing.
Yeah, like one's spirit and or demon or anything paranormal. And then one is like a family lived there and there was like domestic abuse and that left its
mark on the area. So whatever interpretation you guys want to take from that, Chip does say it's supernatural, but I do think it's interesting that it could very much be either or of those situations. He continues on into the primary bedroom. He says, a woman claims this room. And she says, this is my house. This is my fucking house. And he explains that the woman who is here is very territorial. I love how he just like doesn't hold back when he's like
he's
saying what the ghost says,
I can just imagine him being like, I'll say it. fucking calm down. Okay. She says, this is my house. This is my fucking house. She's like,
Yeah.
give me a minute. Like, I can see him not being afraid of his spirits, but more like annoyed by them.
Yeah. Just like an observer kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and also my thing is like, I think the spirits understand if you have gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think they treat him differently than they're going to treat us, or like somebody who doesn't know how to see them.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like a little more cautious. So now they take Chip down to the basement. Chip says that there's been stuff going on in this house since the very beginning. Amy asks him, what's your overall vibe of the house? Chip says, I think there's been in the past a lot of anger in this house. So what we probably think is, I don't know if you agree with me, Mel, it's probably the family, the parent family, just dealing with what was happening. But like, I guess they never did a deep dive into like previous owners either.
No, they didn't do any. So if you remember, and it was a while ago, this was also the Arnold property.
Oh,
Benedict
Benedict.
Arnold. And I mean, if we're talking about like bad energy, I don't know if, being a turncloak betraying your country leaves a mark or like a bad mark on your
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
And they talk about Bathsheba as the previous owner with
Mhm.
the like superstition that she sacrificed her child. But there's no proof of that. So as far as previous owners go, they talk about that. And then that is what they think inspired the hauntings on the parents.
I think they really wanted to wrap this up in a nice conjuring box.
Mm-hmm.
And Benedict Arnold didn't fit into that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, once you start like really peeling back the layers of like previous owners, where do
Mhm.
you stop?
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you truly want to figure out like what is haunting
Yeah. And I
that
mean,
house.
like, it was like hundreds of years of Arnold's that lived there. And then I remember I referenced a potential, some people said it could be Native American land. And, then you get
Yeah.
into like all of that.
Yeah.
And who knows? I'm sure it was a battlefield. Almost every fucking
Yeah,
place here is
exactly.
a battlefield. So yeah.
So Amy asks Chip if he wants to bring the whole family back in the house, and he gets a huge smile on his face. Do you think it's a mischievous smile?
A little, I mean, yeah. This all felt very like we weren't really like privy to previous conversations is how I
Yeah.
felt listening to this like conversation about the parents coming back.
Yeah. So he asks, are they really coming here? Amy says, yes, they are coming. So it's like, mic drop.
Yeah. Which is a huge thing.
And all of them come.
Yeah. Like,
Except for the mother.
I don't know. I mean, obviously it aired during the pandemic. So I imagine they really promoted this as like
Also,
the
I'm like, how
parents.
much do they pay them?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
come get re-traumatized
For real.
for a hefty sum.
Mm-hmm.
So Chip's face is a look of shock and bewilderment as he finds out that they are actually coming. He mimics his mind exploding with his hands. He
Mhm.
asks, are all the sisters and the dad? Amy says, yeah. He does the mind explosion thing again. The dad came?
Yeah, the dad was there.
Why don't I remember the dad?
You will when we get to the description.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Adam says we want to see what it's like with them in the space because you got a reading in the space without their energy. So now what will it feel like with them here?
Okay. I did write something down at this part. So, I had coming in blind to everything Chip and how they treat him. This one part where Adam says this, I was like, it felt very, yes, so now you've read the house without them and, something might change. So we want you to
Oh,
see
you think
how
that
it
was
feels
leading?
with them. It felt very leady to me coming in, not knowing anything. But it was just like a little thing that I was kind of like,
Also, now that I'm thinking about it, looking back, were they just picking up their energy themselves? Or
Yeah.
were they picking up the energy in the house that changed? Like, were they
Yeah.
just, how do you decipher that?
And can there be energy from a film franchise created off of a story?
I mean,
That's
yes, I
got
feel
to
like
bring something to the lore, right? The
exactly. I mean, the fact that we're even have a name for it, The Conjuring, like it didn't have a name then, that brings energy to it, And the fact that people continue to talk about this story, that feeds it energy.
Yeah. There are lots of like legends and folklore that believe naming things give it give things power, like there's the whole thing, Rumpelstiltskin. The whole point is,
Yeah.
names have power. So there is something to be said, at least in
Yeah.
folklore, about the power that a name can hold. And I'm sure not just a name, but a whole franchise built upon the Perrin family name and the
Yeah.
Conjuring universe. The universe was started based on this Perrin family story. So that to me is, like that's a heavy, big, like,
Yeah. Exactly. So Chip says excitedly, "Count me in." So he's ready to re-traumatize this family.
So the Perrin family arrives, all 5 daughters who appear to be in their 60s, as well as their father, who, God, must be in his 80s. Amy says, everyone has returned, including the most targeted family member, Cindy. Adam asks everyone when was the last time they'd all been in the house. For a few of them, it was 1980. For some, it was 1996. And Andrea has been back to the house a few times because she's been the family liaison when it comes to Hollywood and how their story is portrayed.
Oh, okay. I missed that. I'm like, wait, why was she back to the house? Okay.
Yeah,
That
she's the one that wrote the book, the 2 books,
no idea.
and says, like, The Conjuring just barely scratched the surface of what they experienced. So she's definitely, like, capitalizing on all their stuff for sure and wants to, like, keep it going. Probably because it was, 2020, and she knew there were gonna be, like, 3 more Conjuring films. But I did notice, like, Cindy, who is the one that is, like, targeted the most, she had these, like, soulful eyes, these big soulful eyes. So most of the women had no, Andrea had, like, she was the one that I said looked like, B from Golden Girls, and I kind of forget what the other sisters look like, but Cindy had, like, long, wavy gray hair and these really big eyes, and she was thin, and she just looked so terrified to be there, and she was, like, guided by another sister who maybe had darker gray hair, and was just kind of, like, there to comfort her. But Cindy, if there was anything that sold me on this episode, it was Cindy.
Absolutely. I
And
mean, I feel like everybody's demeanor. Everybody was like truly
yeah, I mean, I don't
upset.
know that, like, Andrea is very trustworthy at this point, She's a little
Yeah.
hard to.
Especially that she's like there all the time now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's if there's ever something big that happens in a family, I feel like there's always that family member that wants to capitalize on it,
Yeah.
and they're always just kind of
Yeah.
the asshole. Not that she was an asshole, but they're like, "Let me just bring up my family trauma to make us money."
Yeah.
But in their minds, they're like, "Hey, we went through this. We may as well make money off of it."
Yeah.
Which I get. But Cindy and, like, not even I don't know how I felt about the dad, but Cindy, I was like, "Okay, regardless of whether or not anything is legit, these people believe something happened to them.
Exactly.
Something happened to them, and they are terrified from it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was real life abuse and them as children created stories in their minds to make sense of that. I don't know, but because that's happened.
That's the theory I haven't heard.
Yeah, I mean, was it, like, the mom won't step foot in there again? Like, was there anything with
And there's a
actual.
lot of anger, residual anger.
Yeah, like, maybe something. I don't know. You never know. I don't wanna say that, like, anybody was,
Yeah.
like, hitting anybody, but, like, something could have happened. Maybe there was, like, a piano teacher who did something bad and, but whatever happened, something happened to them, and this girl, Cindy, is terrified, and she just is the type of person you look into her eyes, and you can just see a lot. Her eyes were very telling. All right, so back to Andrea, who, as we said, was the family liaison when it came to Hollywood and how their story is portrayed. So Charlie has heard her talk about her experience on several podcasts, and she's very protective of her family. She explains that mom will never come back. And then while we're in the house, dad also explains that he's been back as well previously. So they immediately start walking around and pointing things out. Someone points out the laundry room, and Andrea says, with the door that would not stay closed no matter what. One of her sisters says every single night it would open up all on its own. And this part was crazy for me. Like, so to paint a picture for you guys, imagine just like a gaggle of gray ladies come into this house, 5 old women and their dad, and they're just like kind of going around like swarming like little bees and noticing little things and pointing them out. And they're like, oh, this used to be here. Or, like, this thing happened over here. And they're just clearly reliving these different moments
Everything.
there at the same time. And it was like truly kind of crazy to witness. I think it
Yeah.
would be like, walking back into your childhood home, but make it haunted and traumatizing.
Yeah.
But that felt very either all of them are really, really fucking good actors or like this was all genuine. I think it was genuine.
I think it was genuine. I mean, because how recalling something to
Mm-hmm.
recall something instead of making something up in your mind, it's
Mm-hmm.
very different.
Yeah. And I always think back to a lot of times I think back to, and it's not foolproof or anything, but that little insight that when people are lying, they tend to give too many details. And this is nothing like that. They were just like, oh, that door used to open where, or like that was the cabinet that, like, it was just like little one liners of things,
Yeah. It
you
wasn't
know?
like, and that morning, blah, blah, blah. And,
Hmm. Yeah. Like I remember there was mist in the air. The weather was chilled, like there
yeah.
wasn't like,
Like they used ChatGPT to
yeah,
come up with
yeah.
scenarios before they got there.
Yeah. So anyways, so Adam says it's overwhelming having the parents back in this house. You can tell that they're immediately transported back to when they were children. We see Cindy wander into a room by herself. And again, Cindy is the one that was the most targeted with the big soulful eyes. Adam asks where she went, and nobody knows where she is. So Adam then wanders upstairs to find her. He asks Cindy how she feels being back in the space now. Cindy says, in the most like precious voice ever, and she like puts her hands together and she's like, oh, not real good. Like a nervous
Yeah.
Nelly. Andrea, the older sister, then explained that out of all of us, Cindy went through the most. She continues that she was lying in her bed one night and Cindy came up to the side of the bed and asked Andrea if she could sleep with her because she kept hearing voices. She said she heard voices in her room all around her bed and that the voices were all saying the same thing. There are 7 dead soldiers buried in the wall.
So when we left off in the last part, 7 was something that she came up in the spirit box session.
Exactly. So we then see a flashback to Amy and Adam's spirit box session where Amy had gotten the words 7, 7.
And they're buried in the walls?
Well, so to me, the soldier thing, this is where I think if I had been a producer on the show, I would have brought up the Arnold family.
Yes.
Because maybe that means, well, first of all, who
You know
knows what
what?
the house was built with? Benedict Arnold was, again, refresher, Benedict Arnold was an American continental general. Maybe it wasn't a general, whatever. He was in the American army during the Revolutionary War. And then he was a turncloak spy for the British. So he switched halfway through and joined the other side. So he's like a notorious bad guy, Benedict Arnold. And this was the family land. So you have soldiers. I imagine a lot of times families that have soldiers, especially that high up, they continue that. The sons of the family continue being soldiers.
Yeah.
I don't know the full history of the Arnold family, but I'm willing to bet there were, I don't know if he had like a lot of brothers, even like if this was the Arnold family land. I don't know if that started with Benedict Arnold or like his father owned the land.
Well, and now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think they ever go back to this whole 7 thing, do they? The 7 soldiers?
I don't think so because no, not the soldiers. Just the 7 part. They're like, oh, we heard 7. So to me, like that's where the soldiers come in because I would think,
but they never linked the 2.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
We linked it, but they now that I'm thinking about it, they don't link it in the episode.
They don't talk about the Arnolds at all. That's not mentioned. But I don't know. I would think, Revolutionary War, that's very early. I would think that the Arnold, like Benedict Arnold, was probably gifted this land from the English because that's, if you were a soldier, like it was originally English land, the Queen, Her Majesty's, well, it wasn't Her Majesty, it was King George then. But King George's land.
Get from the Native Americans and gave it to the...
Yep. Yep. He's like, I own this land now.
Yeah. That's for you.
Yep. And then he was like, here you go, Benedict Arnold. Thanks for being a turncloak spy and losing us the war. So maybe his family kept the land, or like maybe he had other brothers that remained on this side. I don't know. So I don't know if Benedict Arnold was gifted the land or if it was his father's land or something like that. But I would imagine there are some soldiers from that time.
And I don't know if it's because this is like an earlier season, but you know what? There's only 7 seasons because What?
7 seasons.
7.
Maybe that's what Tommy, the
They
PA, was saying. 7 seasons. Remember, Amy, you've only got 7. This is number 4. Make it good. Make it good.
Yeah.
7.
Oh my God, it's so funny. They actually do a better deep dive into the history, which they're not doing it. They didn't do it in this one, and they didn't do it in the other one, where they're not actually showing it. Like, they actually show them going to town hall, diving into the records, like really going into the history.
Yeah.
And I feel like they didn't do that in either of these episodes.
I bet they just, because of the lore of The Conjuring, they
Stuck with it.
they couldn't spend the time on it, or just
it would have been like a 10-hour episode.
Yeah, or they needed to either do a 2-part episode to go into the history and correct the differences in The Conjuring versus the real story. Or maybe that's been done so many times, they were like,
Here's another thing. Or they don't want to be the Debbie Downers to be like, hey, we're rewriting history that all these movies are based on. Or, it's not Bathsheba. It's like just these soldiers. Like, because also they're capitalizing off of this information. So they can't dig that deep into it.
I'm also,
I wonder.
I feel like we should look up when, prior to the Conjuring movie that's like about to come out or just came out, what was the prior one? And was it the timing of its release around the pandemic when this happened? And is that why the parents agreed to come on? Because they get like residuals or something?
And did this help promote it? That's a interesting hypothesis.
Let's see, Conjuring movie release dates, and then we'll get back into it. Okay, so
no, but I'm wondering if that was even maybe like in the contract, like you can't deviate from the original story of what the Conjuring is based off of.
Well, but she does it in her books. Like Hollywood takes their liberties, but maybe she's not allowed to. I don't know. Okay,
I'm sure they had guardrails for them.
So I would be willing to bet that like some of this, like in the parents coming on there, had to do with, they must have some sort of residuals for the Conjuring universe for having started it with their story. Because it's not called like the Warrens.
No.
It's called The Conjuring. So now Nancy tells another story about how Cindy was, Nancy's one of the other sisters. She tells another story about how Cindy was sleeping in this room one evening, and then the next thing I knew, she was just screaming. So we flash back to Chip receiving a residual message of a child saying, "Stop, stop."
So she was sleeping and then she was screaming?
Yes. Like, I guess the mom heard Cindy screaming, "Stop, stop," and went to check on her before Nancy could get to her, and said, like, "Stop, stop. Don't come up here." Cindy chimes in that the bed was levitating and explains that she was on the bed and the bed was rising up and coming back down and twisting and turning. She says, "In this space right here," and she points to the spot where the bed had been. So that's why the mom didn't want her to come up. She was like, "There's some fucking shit going on here." I
remember it twisting and turning in the movie, though. I thought it just lifted up.
No, it did. It did. It kind of like, it lifts and like does a little shaky shake. This is like, I have a really hard time fathoming something like that. Yeah, I just...
Stiff as a board. Wait, light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Yeah, like anything just levitating.
Yeah, but like, just...
And like a bed. Well, that's not like a light thing that can just somehow, Andrea begins crying, and she explains that it's emotional for her to bring her sisters back here. So this is where I'm like calling bullshit a little bit. I'm like, well, Andrea, aren't you the one that asked them to come back here?
Yeah.
Like, knowing how traumatic it would be for poor Cindy.
But maybe now that she's in it is a little different.
Yeah.
I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt.
I know. It's weird for her to like play both sides, but yeah. So everyone makes their way back into the dining room to kind of sit and chat. Amy then asks them how the house feels based off of what they remember. Christine, another sister, says she didn't want to walk through the hallway to the kitchen, which, if you recall, that is where our guy Chip was shoved. She said she never liked doing that because the cellar door is there. Adam then turns to the dad and says, "You were saying you had your big experience in here."
So, and then the cellar door in the movie, isn't that where the the clap happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, the clap actually happens all over the house. So, like, it's a game. So in the Conjuring film, they like play like a
I thought it
hide
was
and seek.
mostly, well, they play it all over the house, but I thought mostly it was in her wardrobe in her bedroom and then
Yes.
also in the cellar door.
The
Like those are the
cellar,
two
she
places.
gets trapped in there. Like, that's where it's guiding her to, I think, the cellar
Yeah.
door. But the clapping happens,
Yeah.
in the wardrobe for sure. Yeah, it's creepy. I was like fine watching it during the day while I was working, and then it like got to nighttime, and I was
And then
like,
you got really freaked out.
especially with The Conjuring 2 and like the creepy nun part and like the spooky old man, I was like, ugh, there's so many jump scares. He's so creepy.
Getting chills right
Yeah.
now.
So back to the dad. He had his big experience in that room, and Roger, the dad, says, one day I heard footsteps on the stairs from the cellar, and I said, my God, what is that? Because the old lady used to come to me and just do this to my back. He demonstrates by rubbing Adam's back. He explains it was to
Ugh.
let him know that she was there.
That's so creepy. Okay, when this happened, me and my mom both got chill, like goosebumps, like big goosebumps.
Yeah. And, I'm over here like I can understand the weird like hair on ends feeling, we talked about that with like old wiring and stuff, but somebody massaging you, that's
Well,
hard
the rubbing down the back. Remember, I
Mhm.
told you that was one of my experiences. Well, they didn't rub down my back, but they like pressed. Like they were like getting my attention. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so it was similar. It was like kind of like a I'm getting your attention kind of thing.
I'm
Ugh.
trying to think, and I do feel like I've had like a sense before where I've thought somebody like tapped my shoulder or something. All right, so Adam clarifies that Roger is talking about the spirit, and he says yes. He goes on, that's right. And after I heard the footsteps, then the cellar door opened. He says he sees this veil coming into the foyer, and that he turned to it and said, look, you old lady, either come in here and sit with me and talk to me, or get the hell out. I kind of went into Zach Bagans for a second there.
I always wonder though, like how you would react to a ghost. Like, would you act scared or would you act bold? You
I
know?
think you gotta like grizzly bear it. Or not grizzly bear, you're fucked with a grizzly bear. Brown bear it.
Well, because of the whole like saging my grandma thing, like I thought I had balls.
Yeah.
Until it happened. And then I was like, oh, I'm scared, So it's just like you just
I'm
never know
sure-
until you're in the moment,
And well, think about the fact that he's a parent too. Like I think you can feign being like as brave as possible for your kid too.
Yeah.
So he tells her to get the hell out. He said the cellar door slammed so hard he thought it broke off the hinges. Amy then explains to everyone about the white wooden chest they found in the basement that had the children's drawings that looked to be someone with like a crooked neck and their crooked
So creepy.
and their tongue coming out. So I think this crooked neck lady inspired in The Conjuring 2, the kids in the film, they kind of like start out playing with one of these little old-fashioned toys, and it's like a little projector toy. It looks like it has slides and spins and like creates
I think
a little...
it's the original movie. It's an
Yeah.
original movie. Is it a horse?
It's not a horse. It's like a more modern... It's probably like the 70s, late 70s, early 80s.
But I'm saying like I think it's the original way that a movie was made. It's like slides that were on
it's like stop motion slide spinning.
Exactly.
But this one has like music. It's like that combined with a music box. And it does the nursery rhyme, The Crooked Man. And I just got my son, Banks, this book for his birthday. You get these like stories for 4-year-olds or stories for 3-year-olds. And it like is what they're learning. So I got the stories for 4-year-olds book, and it has the Crooked Man story. And I read it to him the other night. And it wasn't creepy when I read it. And now I can never fucking read it again. Because it's like there was a crooked man who lived a crooked life. He found a crooked sixpence in his shoe, whatever. He lived in a crooked house, blah, blah, blah. So they're like practicing this rhyme with the little boy because he has a stutter. And then eventually like the spirit takes on like a real crooked man. And I think what came from this thing.
Yes. Ooh, that is
The crooked
so
neck.
creepy.
So they talk about the crooked neck lady that was drawn on this white chest, and everyone is saying, oh my God, as soon as she says the crooked neck person. And all the sisters kind of like look at each other. Andrea interrupts her and says, I saw her. She was wearing a fine linen dress. She had a high collar. and her head was hanging right off the side of the collar, and she had very jagged yellow teeth like spikes.
Why was the yellow jagged teeth the grossest part? Not the crooked neck, the jagged yellow teeth.
Yeah. Remember what I said about too much detail, Lauren? I'm kidding. So Christine, the other sister, chimes in and says she roamed all over this house. This was her place. She owned this house.
So is this Bathsheba?
I guess it must, right? So the crooked neck lady must be Bathsheba, but I'm like, she wasn't executed. This woman wasn't executed.
Was Bathsheba executed?
Okay, so the real Bathsheba Sherman died May 25th, 1885 at the age of 72 due to paralysis caused by a stroke. She passed away in her bed at home in Burrville, Rhode Island. Burrville and Harrisville are the same thing. In the film, they say that she was a witch who murdered her baby and then committed suicide by hanging herself from a tree on the property. Oh, yeah, that's right, because she sees the tree out front.
Yes.
So I guess that would explain the crooked neck in the film. But the crooked neck lady, I mean, maybe a stroke could do that. If I'm really, really trying,
Yeah.
she died from paralysis caused by a stroke. Maybe the right side of her body no longer
Yes.
functioned and she kind of had a crooked neck because of
Mhm.
that. But that's me really trying to make it work, you know?
Yeah.
So anywho, it says she roamed all over this house. This was her place. She owned this house. So we then flash back to Chip talking about the woman in the primary bedroom who was saying, "This is my house." Andrea says she lusted after my father. She coveted us, the children, and she loathed my mother. Maybe I got this wrong, but in the research, I had it the other way around, was that the mother was lusted after.
Maybe it's not as sexy for the film, you know?
Okay, so I did. So this comes from Andrea Perrin's claims that there were more, she believes there were more spirits in the house than just Bathsheba. She said there was a spirit who smelled like rotting flesh that the family believed malevolent. She said there was a sympathetic female ghost who appeared in the children's room, a ghost who would reportedly kiss the girls goodnight. I don't know if that's the same as the female ghost. And then a male spirit who is obsessed.
Do you see that?
I know. And then a male spirit who is obsessed with Carolyn and seemed to be in love with her. So she said spirits came and went frequently. She thought of the house as a portal, with some coexisting peacefully and others aggressively. So, but the dad, like Andrea here says, she lusted after my father. She coveted us, the children, and she loathed my mother. But that's Bathsheba.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe there was another spirit that lusted after the mother. It's kind of crazy if there were like two lusty situations. So Amy explains to them that they want to see if their presence in the home changed the energy at all. So they're gonna bring back Chop Koofy. I'm kidding. They're gonna bring back our guy Chip Coffee and his fabulous wardrobe and have him join them to see if anything has been awoken. So Jip joins them. Chip joins them at the dining table, and Amy says, "The first thing we want to ask you, Chip, is what has changed in the house, energy-wise, since these folks have entered." Chip says that the energy changed, which I was just like, after 3 people told you the energy, did the energy change? And the first thing he says is, the energy's changed. I was like, all right. But he said the energy changed the minute they pulled onto the property, and the energy got darker. He explains that their memories, their energy, the past that they share in this house, all that came back into focus, and their energy is going to change the energy of what's in this house. Should we say energy more?
The energy.
The energy.
Wait, is there a prison in this episode?
There is no prison in this episode.
There's no jail?
There's not a jail.
I must have continued watching because I'm like really confused. I'm like, I must have watched the next episode.
Are you thinking of the penitentiary, like the Ghost Adventures prison?
No, it's with Chip Coffee.
Oh yeah, you watched more. There's no pre-zone.
Yeah, because I'm like, wait.
Yeah, no prison.
I don't see how a prison fits into this episode.
That'd be too many layers.
Yeah.
So Amy asks if there's any area in which he feels as though things are more active at this point. Chip points up dramatically, and Amy says, upstairs. So we see Cindy is like visibly getting shaken up, and she starts to cry. Chip grabs her hand and tells her that she's okay. Nancy says, your whole family is here. You're an adult now. We're not going to let anything happen to you. There's nothing here you can't handle. Which, like, sure, but I'm also like, don't these things, like, attach to people? So how can anybody really reassure?
Can we have like a revisit like of this episode? Like, okay, where are they now?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happened?
Uh-huh.
Did you get an attachment?
Yep. I'm like, did this work out worse for you? Was
Yeah.
the payment worth it? So they're comforting Cindy. Adam says, I think the most important thing that we've figured out so far is that we've contacted a female spirit, giving us the same impression that you guys felt and that you felt, pointing to Chip. And obviously now she's a little more awake now that you're in the house, and we'll have an easier time communicating with her and finding out who she is and what she wants. Adam explains that was the greater purpose behind this sit down. And then we move in to night 2.
So Amy and Adam are alone in the house for night 2.
Mhm.
They acknowledge that the most results that they have gotten so far have been with the spirit box, and Amy wonders if that's because when they are in that state, they are vulnerable. They decide that going into the darkest place in the house, the cellar, and separating them would put them in another vulnerable position. So Adam warns Amy if something really crazy happens, she needs to speak up. And they're in the basement, right?
Yeah, they both are. They both are. Mhm.
Amy begins to do an EVP session. She says, "So whoever is in here, my name is Amy, and these are my friends."
What's she talking about? These are my friends.
Who knows?
I
But
oh,
anyways,
the camera crew. You saw a lot of the camera crew in this. That was something I actually wrote in
yeah.
my notes. Like,
Also completely opposite from Zach Bagans.
completely opposite. I thought it was cool. They, like, set up all these static cameras, and you could see the camera crew
Yeah.
recording them.
And they're just like gentle and kind and,
Yeah. Yeah.
So Adam is in a separate area and says, "So every time I point my SLS camera at 45 degrees to the left, the screen blacks out." So he was in the basement and there was like a certain area he would see, like on the screen of his SLS, he would actually see kind of some,
And reminder, the SLS camera
it's
is
like the Xbox Connect.
Mhm.
So it would like pick up things
Stick-
that look like people.
Yeah. So it's like the stick figure one. But this one
Stick
was
figure.
this one was weird. When you looked at the screen, it would say anomaly detected
Mm.
or anomaly not detected. So it's definitely one.
So even though he wasn't picking up actual, what was he picking up anomalies when he was going to the right?
No, it was shutting off. It wasn't even
No.
shutting
To
off.
the left, it was shutting to the off. So what I was saying is like when he was scanning to the right,
Mhm.
it was still showing like a grid. But then
Yeah.
when he was scanning to the left, it like just completely shut off. That was like
Yeah.
the
No,
crazy
it did.
part.
He never detected an anomaly because he said something like, it doesn't want to be seen. So
Yeah.
it was almost like someone, because it didn't turn off. It was almost like someone put their hand on
Over
a
it,
lens.
over the sensor.
On the lens, yeah,
Yeah.
completely. So you couldn't see anything.
So just to paint a picture, Adam is in a separate area than Amy. Every time he points the SLS camera to his left, it blacks out. Now, when he points it to the right, you still see the grid of the SLS, like of the room, but it's not picking anything up. So just only when he turns to the left, it blacks out completely. It says not the whole screen, just whatever the camera should be picking up. He says that he has to start it over, but if he points it to the 45 degrees to the right, it works just fine. So it's only doing it to the left, which is weird. He shows the cameraman how the SLS camera is working just fine in that direction. And then he shows us again as he points it to the left that the screen turns black. Adam says, "I need to go where it doesn't want me to go." And as he gets up to move, he shows us again that the screen has blacked out in this one area. So again, Amy and Adam are separated. Adam is doing SLS. Amy is doing an EVP. So Amy asks, "What is your name? Do you remember the parent family?" Then we cut to Adam also starting to ask questions while holding the SLS camera. "Is the lady with the broken neck here? Can you show yourself?" So he's trying to get this entity to kind of like pop up in front of the camera instead of just like turning off the screen. Neither of them capture anything audio, but Adam does feel something touch the right side of his back leg.
I'm going to tap in for Lauren for a second because this is a tongue twister. They reconvene, and Adam says that he believes that the female who was here with the parents is still in the home, but that she hasn't had the opportunity to get to know the new family. So night 3, Amy determines that heading into their third night of the investigation, they should try to figure out who this woman of the house could be. So it's now night 3, and Amy and Adam are getting ready to investigate. Immediately, Amy spots something black go across the floor as she's watching a static camera on a monitor. So we're kind of upstairs in the house at this point, and we've seen them set up static cameras all across the house. So I'm pretty sure this room was the room that had the most activity, where like the children's bedroom. So we kind of see this black thing isolated on the camera footage of a static camera upstairs, but it's so pixelated, it's hard to make out what it is.
Also, when CCTV or whatever those cameras are,
Yeah.
it's like when you get so granular
Uh-huh.
like that, it's like it could be anything.
Yeah.
Because when the pixels are that large
Yeah.
compared to like what you're showing, it's like it could be literally a bug, and it's like how many pixels are gonna show what that
And
is.
for that, like when you're live streaming something like that, like I just think of like my Ring camera. If you're like flashing through it, it'll have moments where like certain pixels just like go out. Glitch, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I do, it is kind of this weird, like the door, if you're looking from the camera, it's like kind of, it's up in the corner. You're looking down at like a hardwood floor, and then there's a fireplace on the far wall. And to the left of the fireplace is the doorway into the bedroom. So you see this kind of black, whatever shadow
Rise from the ground, kind of.
It kind of crawls, or at least I interpreted that as like it kind of like was this like blobby black thing that moved from the doorway to the fireplace.
But I thought it like kind of like came up from the ground. Did it not? Or it came from the door?
It came from the door. Like it
Ooh.
was sideways. And Charlie
Oh.
wrote, could it be a mouse or a rat? They say it's heading towards the fireplace from the doorway, which I saw too.
Okay.
So the pair head upstairs and start their investigation, where they saw that sort of black mist. Adam is holding his SLS camera and sitting on the floor, while Amy is sitting on the edge of the bed. Adam begins asking questions. Can you tell us your name? Do you know who the Perrins were? Did the Perrin family replace something for you that you lost? Did they give you something that you always wanted? And then all of a sudden, Amy says, something is running down my back, like a full pet down my back.
When this happened, I got chills.
Yeah.
Like full body chills. So did my mom. Like we were just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Just because it felt genuine and it was like out of nowhere. And honestly, I feel like up until this point, they haven't really gotten a lot of evidence.
Yeah. I mean, and you can get like chills in a room too. Like, I don't know much about her. I don't know if she, remember when you guys told me that Erin becomes a medium in Ghost Adventures? Like all of a sudden it becomes a medium. I was kind of like, okay. Adam's like asking the questions, and it seems like Amy's kind of the interpreter. Does she have any sort of abilities or whatever?
Yeah.
So I was just kind of figuring that out. But she did seem like freaked out. So Adam asks if it's gentle, and she says yes. She looks stunned, kind of like,
okay, why is it being gentle creepier? Why? Like it's like so intentional.
Yeah.
Instead of like a brushing against, it's like a I'm going,
She kind of looks like, what the fuck is going on? Somebody's touching me. And Adam just continues, kind of like it's no biggie. He asks if it seems like what Roger was describing, Roger being the dad. And she says, yes, exactly. So they decide to leave Amy in the room alone with her 3 cameramen.
So did the dad not look that much older than the daughters? Because I'm like trying to remember. I thought that he was a brother.
He didn't. No, he looked older, but you have to think like they were kids in the 60s, 70s. So I do think he was probably a young dad.
Gotcha.
They probably had kids very young, especially the amount of kids they had.
Probably Catholic.
Catholic, probably got married at probably had kids at 18, So they leave Amy in the room. By the way, if I was alone in a room, I could definitely handle being alone in a room. I'm doing air quotes. If there were 2 other cameramen in there with me.
Yeah. Just like how they turned the lights off in Edinburgh.
Yeah. Yeah.
The lights weren't really off. The lights were on with the cameras.
Yeah. Yeah. So like It's like less scary knowing somebody else there. And they talk to them, which I like when people talk to the cameraman. I think it's fun. But it's not the same as like the fear you would feel being alone. So anyway, Amy's in the room alone. And she tries to do an EVP session as well as set up an SLS camera to face her to see if anything appears. Amy tells whoever is in there that if they want to join her, they can sit right next to her. She kind of pats the bed. She begins asking more questions about the parents and why whoever this is touched her back. Amy plays back this session. So she plays back her little radio and she doesn't capture anything. And she begins to get frustrated. She tells Adam, and at this point, they both just seem kind of defeated and disappointed. Amy admits that it was really tough for them to do all of this work and capture nothing. So she says that they've established that this place is haunted between the DVR footage and then that black thing crawling towards the fireplace, as well as the two of them both kind of feeling touches and the spirit box session. Wait, did Adam feel a touch?
Yeah, on his leg in the basement.
Huh. Okay. So they believe there is clearly someone here trying to talk.
So Amy and Adam ask Corey and Jennifer to return to the farmhouse to discuss the feelings.
Amy and Adam ask Corey and Jennifer to return to the farmhouse.
So the Amy and Adam ask Corey and Jennifer to return to the farmhouse to discuss their feelings. So Amy and Adam ask Corey and Jennifer to return to the farmhouse to discuss their findings.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. Which is, I was really actually disappointed. They play the DVR footage of the black misty thing. The black misty thing.
Official scientific term.
Official.
Yeah.
Look it up in the encyclopedia. So they play the DVR footage of the black misty thing. They explain that Chip Coffey came and confirmed that there was a territorial woman in the home. But during their investigation, they couldn't capture anything verifiable about who she was, nor where they are able to connect the property's folklore with actual factual information. So the black missy thing, they were never like saying this is the woman. This was always like a separate thing.
The only thing it tied to is that like the sun saying there was a black mist.
Yeah. Yeah. So there was like never actually a connection of like what they captured with the family.
Mm-hmm. But it was weird because at the beginning of the episode, they talk about like the things that they're experiencing was like on a sped up timeline, like what the parents were experiencing. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Have you seen this movie? Because levitating beds, it's very different from a little bit of baby black mist.
Okay. So theories.
Mm-hmm.
Was this current family? So we all have to ground our audience in like what's happening.
Right.
There's the parent family that was the original Conjuring family that lived there 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's the current family that asked Amy and Adam to come there because they felt overwhelmed.
They're buddies.
And their buddies and their paranormal investigators to come help them because they're overwhelmed with the activity. So here's the thing. Are they like capitalizing on them buying the Conjuring House? Was this like all for that?
Yeah.
Like, were they trying?
And mind you, now you can visit the Conjuring House. You can stay the night. It's a museum.
Well, are you serious?
Yeah.
So, yeah, was this just to promote the Conjuring House? Also, the Conjuring movie was being filmed at this time.
Yeah. Not at it's actually like the houses are super different if you go back and watch The Conjuring. The one in the film looks like this old kind of colonial, like 3-story big white house, whereas like the real Conjuring house is like an old farmhouse.
Yeah. Okay. So weirdly, the way that this discussion was shot, Corey and Jennifer's faces are extremely dark, and at one point, they literally look like shadow people.
Shadow people.
I'm not sure I understand the choice to shoot without any underlining at all.
That was a note from Charlie.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
Can't cut our production brains off. So no. Charlie left a note that she doesn't
like why are we not filling the shadows? Like, where's the bounce?
Why are we filling the shadows? Who are those weird like time traveling Mulder and Scully from the 90s that they FaceTimed in the haunted object?
Did we not like figure out the composition of the shot? Like, who's choosing these angles? Anyway, they make the recommendation that Corey and Jennifer continue to monitor the situation and be caretakers of this place. Because I guess what else do you do at this point? They own the house. Like,
Yeah.
what other
Well,
suggestion are you going to do?
Lauren, it looks like you move your family somewhere else, turn it into a museum / Airbnb
yes.
hotspot, and make money off of it.
Yeah, like Matt Rife.
Yeah, like they literally did.
Yeah. Amy says this story started in 1730, which is so crazy. I want to visit that house. And it's now 2019, and I don't see this ending anytime soon. Her and Jennifer say that they are still nervous about what could happen, and Amy and Adam agree. They are apologetic that they couldn't do more help figuring out what was going on. And that's the thing is, like, with Amy and Adam, they actually try to figure out what's going on. They're not just like, here's an EVP. Here's a blah, 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 blah. Like, they're actually trying to, like, investigate.
And, like, link things together.
Exactly.
Whereas
Why do they do the
creates
history?
his own story.
Yeah.
You know, and they're like, this doesn't really, these pieces don't fit. Like, we can't put this puzzle together for you, and that's bothering us.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So Adam ends the episode dramatically by saying, I don't think the story of the haunted farmhouse ends here today, and I won't be surprised if someday we're here back again.
We're back here again.
And I don't think...
And I won't be surprised.
And I don't think the story of the haunted farm... And I won't be surprised if someday we're back here again.
Golf clap for Lauren. Golf clap for Lauren.
Guys, do you know how hard this was for me to say words together?
You did so great. Seriously.
Charlie would be so proud.
She really would. I mean, she will be. She's going to listen to this. But now it's time for Haunted or Hoax. What do we think of... Let's see. What do we think of the house in general? And what do we think of the current owners?
I do think I agree with how you're posing it, because I do think it's a two-parter.
Yeah.
So I think the house is holding on residual energy. And I think that the owners are trying to capitalize on the lore of the house. I don't think there's an active haunting. And we've gone over this previously. Me and Char kind of had this discussion about, like, whether or not residual energy actually is a haunting. I do not believe that residual energy is a haunting. I think it needs to be active, like a ghost or demon or whatever is actively haunting a space.
You think it has to be intelligent?
Intelligent
spirits.
Intentional.
Yeah.
Like,
Lauren doesn't believe in dumb hauntings.
I don't believe in dumb hauntings. So anything that's leftover energy that you're just like how Chip was picking up the stop it that was previous owners. I don't believe that is an actual haunting. So honestly,
I'm aligned with that.
I don't think it's haunted. I don't think it's it may be haunted, but I don't think it's coming out with them.
Yeah.
It could be. And I'm not doubting that it is. I'm just saying what was captured is not haunted.
Yeah,
I think
it feels
it's just
like I don't know if places go dormant or something. Yeah, like but it's.
But I think what they captured was residual energy.
Yeah, and then the second part. What do you think of the current owners in terms of?
I think they're trying to capitalize on the lore of the movie. I think they're...
Do you think their son actually saw something, or do you think this is all just a hoax?
I think that if somebody is going to move into a house that is notoriously haunted and is based off of a movie that they probably have all seen, they're all going to probably think that they see things, you know?
And the sister doesn't believe in all of it, which should tell you something, right? Like, if your parents are doing this, like, I would like to think that...
Like, anytime I'm alone by myself, I think I hear things. I think
completely.
Just knowing I'm going into a notoriously haunted space.
Yeah.
Your mind's going to play tricks on you.
Your mind is so powerful. And
and what is it called where, like, your mind tells you what you believe, or, like, shows
Pareidolia?
Or, like, shows you the evidence of what you believe.
Oh, confirmation bias.
Confirmation bias.
Yeah.
It's confirmation bias.
Yeah, it's your mind is truly can play tricks on you. Like, our house, the property is old, and we've talked about this. Like, we live in on top of an old battlefield. Not that I think my house is haunted by any means. But the property, like the actual foundation, is from the 30s, but our house is like a new build in terms of whatever. And they extended like the room I'm in right now. But so the house, my point is kind of parts of the house are still settling and have settled since we moved in.
Yeah.
And there's this one part of like the hallway that comes into our like primary bedroom that creaks, like the hardwood creaks every time we got a creaky floorboard. And it's worse during the summer than during the winter because, heat causes the wood to expand. Like some of our doors don't close during the summertime. The other day, I was home alone and I had like walked out of our hallway and like the floor did the creaky thing. But then I was like in the kitchen doing something. And then a couple minutes later, I heard like
The door creak
no,
open?
not a door. It was the floor, like creaking. And it was like popping. And I was like, okay, that's weird. And then it like stopped and then it did it again. And it was happening so much where I was like, is this floor going to like collapse if I step on it? But when I think back now, it had been that same week where it had gone from like 100 degrees down to 60 degrees.
Yes.
So I think the foundation, like the wood was settling or expanding or contracting or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But it still scared the crap out of me. I was like,
Well, that's goes back to what's that episode where we were talking about the Truman Show, where we were saying like how many mistakes are mistaken for actual paranormal activity.
Oh yeah.
It's like Zach Bagans would have been all over that.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, he would have been like, is this floorboard telling us that the home is really haunted?
Is on a Native American burial ground?
Yeah. Is there something living in the crawl space?
It's a curse.
Are the bones of a soldier buried beneath the land?
I do wish that they dug more. Like, why reveal 7 and then the 7 soldiers and then not dig into it more?
It does feel like a miss, the Arnold property. Like that was really interesting to me.
Like if they're true investigators, let's like break this down. If they're true investigators, you want to be thorough.
Yeah. I think they were caught up in the parents are coming. Oh, it's the Conjuring movie. Oh, we have them both together. I think they just
also like, how are we going to fit this into one episode?
Yeah. But to me, if I'm Zach Bagans covering this house, I'm like, oh, this was once maybe on native land, and the like nation's most notorious spy in history family owned this land.
Yeah.
There's a curse. I'm sure it's the Arnold family curse. Like 7 soldiers. Like I would have leaned into that for sure. But we've talked about how like the 3 of us would have made much better producers for these shows.
Yeah. Exactly.
No shame to the producers on them. You guys have obviously done a great job. But as for me, for Haunted or Hoax, it is a very old property. That's a fucking old farmhouse. I can't believe it's still there. So that's like a lot of history. Could it be haunted? I guess. I think the parents, I kind of think everything with Bathsheba is kind of made up. The parents definitely experienced something, but part of me wonders if there was like trauma that they like dealt with through imagination.
Yeah.
But they definitely went through something traumatic. And I mean,
I think also energy attaches to family, like families and people.
Yeah.
So
I would be curious.
wondering if it was the house or it was actually them. And then they left the mark on the house because all he felt was residual energy. It wasn't actually the house itself.
And like if the sister claims the house was a portal and like all of these sisters and the mom and the dad all like had these experiences, like couldn't it be them? Are they like all touched or whatever it is, And I'm curious as to their like experience in lives after the house, which I'm sure is in Andrea Perron's book.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Right, shadow people. That's going to do it for this episode of Paranormal Playback.
Remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen.
You can also follow us on TikTok and Instagram for behind-the-scenes chaos, sneak peeks, and bonus hauntings. And don't forget to share with your friends who love our weird little mix of reality TV and paranormal shows.
And if you've got a ghost story of your own, send it in because the Shadowverse is always listening.
Who knows? We might just feature it on our next Tales from the Shadows. So tonight, you got the skeptic
and the believer.
So until next time,
See you in the shadows.
Bye.
They don't fear the whispers. They don't run from the cold. They're a bridge for